What's happening, guys and girls? Acrinator here, and welcome to another episode of World of Warcraft Dungeon Overview. Last episode we went through Skullomance, and this episode we're going to do Razorfen Downs. I'm going to be running through it with my level 100 Feral Worgen Druid right there. And with that being said, let's get straight into it. The lore for Downs is the exact same as Razorfen Crawl, but for those of you who don't remember, it goes something like this. During the War of the Ancients, Cenarius rallied his fellow demigods to face the demonic invasion brought about by the Burning Legion. One such demigod was the massive boar spirit, Agamagan, who pierced through the Legion's ranks with his spiny back quills. Though mighty he was, Agamagan eventually fell to the sheer numbers of the demons, but the boar god didn't fall without crushing dozens of demons underneath his girth. The modern-day descendants of Agamagan, the Quillboars, are constantly between a rock and a hard place. The never-ending war between their tribes and the forces of the Horde has left the demigod's children with little remaining territory. As a result of their desperation, the Quillboars have sought out help in order to regain what was once theirs. Rumor has it that the Quillboars have been in cahoots with the Scourge, and that they've been attempting to resurrect the powerful lich Amnennar the Coldbringer. Together with Cori Straza of the Red Dragonflight, adventurers have been sent into Razorfen Downs, fabled to have been constructed upon the corpse of Agamagan himself in order to stop the Quillboars and their undead benefactors. Razorfen Downs is a level 35 to 50 dungeon located in the mid-northern section of Thousand Needles. Unless you want to do a lot of swimming, I'd recommend approaching the dungeon from the north, starting in the Southern Barrens. Now, there aren't any direct paths to take from the Southern Barrens to Razorfen Downs, so you will have to do a slight amount of mountain climbing to get to where you want to be. Just head south towards Razorfen Crawl until you hit this juncture and climb up the hill as you see me doing here. Once you make your way up, just jump onto the other hillside and you're almost there. Once you make your way into the Thousand Needles section of the Thorny Vale, just follow the path you see me taking here so that you won't get lost. Assuming that you're of the appropriate level for this dungeon, you'll have to fight through a good number of Quillboars before actually making it to the dungeon entrance. Once you reach the end of the path, you should see a giant boar skull that signifies the entrance to the dungeon. From here, you just need to follow the one path you're given to the alcove that opens up into a larger area. The dungeon entrance will then be on your right just after you pass the indent in the wall. The first boss of Razorfen Downs is Arax. Arax is the guardian of Death Speaker Blackthorne, which was created by Quillboar arachnomancers. That sounds like a made-up word to me. After many failed attempts, the arachnomancers finally succeeded in creating a specimen that literally oozes venom. Our recent intrusion on the Quillboar's land is just the opportunity Arax and the arachnomancers have been waiting for. Arachnomancers. No, I'm pretty sure they just added mancer to the end of a random word. That's like saying my druid is a naturemancer or a catmancer. It just doesn't work. Either way, we gotta kill the spider before we can take out Blackthorne. Arax is pretty much a giant venom balloon with fangs, since it constantly sprays venom at nearby players. It should go without saying that if you're not a meleeer, don't go near the boss. Arax will periodically cast an ability called Web Strand, which entangles a random player with a web rope and pulls them towards the boss. If you're hit with this ability, make sure to run away from the boss as fast as possible. The pulling effect only lasts for 10 seconds and the rope will break if you get far enough away, so just hang in there. If Arax does manage to get a hold of the roped player, it'll hit them with a nasty DOT and slows their movement speed by 50%. The second boss of Razorfen Downs is Mordresh Fireeye. If you played in the pre-Kata days, you may be able to remember Mordresh as a boss that was taken out in the original Razorfen Downs. Well, thanks to Death Speaker Blackthorne, Mordresh has been allowed to make his glorious return. This undead shaman twists and bends the elements to his will, and threatens to add the scorched bones of Blackthorne's enemies to his lovely collection. Now, if you've been watching Dungeon Overview for some time now, you'd probably know that I usually like to have a nice scenic panning shot with no NPCs for the lore bits, but I found this little rock show Mordresh puts on for the skeletons to be too funny not to give an honorable mention. Mordresh will constantly summon blazing servitors, which should be taken out as soon as they're summoned. This is because the servitors will create links between each other, which damage players caught in them. It shouldn't be too difficult to deal with these adds as they come, but let them go unchecked and things can get dicey. Mordresh can also cast an ability called Unleashed Flames. For some reason this ability isn't found in the dungeon journal, but it isn't that difficult to counter once you know what it is. It's just a sweeping fire cleave attack, so move out of the circle centered around the boss when he begins casting, and you should be fine. The third boss of Razorfen Downs is Mushlump. Mushlump is one of Death Speaker Blackthorne's most recent creations. If nothing else, Blackthorne is persistent, as he pieced together this putrid monstrosity from the remains of past failed experiments. Mushlump is all kinds of nasty, and spreads his musk throughout the halls leading to the spire, from atop which Blackthorne reigns. If you want to get to Blackthorne, this congealed mass of flesh has got to go.
Putrid funk will be spread in small pools throughout the halls periodically, which damages any players caught within them. These gas clouds can be difficult to see as a result of their color blending in with the background, so pay careful attention to your sidebar for any debuff icons. Mushlump will also cast Tummy Ache, which damages all players caught within 40 yards in a line in front of him. Damage with what, you might ask? Oh dude, say it, don't spray it. The fourth boss of Razorfen Downs is Death Speaker Blackthorne. After Amnennar's defeat in the original Razorfen Downs dungeon, Blackthorne began quickly ascending through the Death's Hand cult, eventually seizing control. Shortly after becoming the Necromancer's leader, Blackthorne received whispers from his former Lich Master, promising him power and glory if he were to successfully resurrect Amnennar. Blackthorne managed to recover the Lich's phylactery and bring it back to his citadel of Razorfen Downs. From atop his bramble spire, the Death's Hand leader has already begun the ritual which would bring back Amnennar. Bleak as the situation might seem, we adventurers do not have to go the distance alone. With Blackthorne's guardians taken care of, the Red Dragon Koristraza is now ready to assist us in preventing the Scourge from gaining any more ground in Kalimdor. Blackthorne will cast an ability called Shockwave, dealing large amounts of physical damage to all those caught within a cone in front of him. Koristraza will be assisting your group throughout this fight by placing small healing pools on the ground. You should try to kite the boss towards these pools so that you can reap the benefits and help out your healer a bit in the process. They carry your ass enough already. It should also be noted that Blackthorne has a few other abilities that couldn't be shown here due to damage purposes. Blackthorne will summon skeletal warriors to assist him, but he doesn't seem to do this unless he's already taken damage. Being max level, I can't do any damage to bring out this ability without one-shotting the boss. Regardless, you should take out these skeletons as quickly as possible so they don't overwhelm the fight. Much like Koristraza, Blackthorne can heal his skeleton helpers one at a time by casting Shadow Mend. This ability is interruptible and therefore should be whenever necessary. The fifth and final boss of Razorfen Downs is Amnennar the Coldbringer. Amnennar is a lich that served the Scourge for many years now, even taking part in the battle for Mount Hyjal. And no, he's not the lich boss from the raid, that would be Rage Winterchill. After Archimonde's glorious defeat and the destruction of the World Tree Nordrassil, Amnennar led his Death's Hand cult to southern Kalimdor where they could spread the Scourge's influence in secret. Alliance and Horde forces eventually caught wind of the Lich's operations in Razorfen Downs and put Amnennar down for good, or so they thought. The adventurers failed to locate the Lich's phylactery, and thus gave him an opportunity to return one day, which is exactly what he is now whispering to Blackthorne to do. If it wasn't obvious already, we fail in stopping Blackthorne's ritual from completing, and Amnennar has returned to his former glory. This is our last chance to stop the Coldbringer before his forces wreak havoc on the whole of Kalimdor. Amnennar will periodically cast Frozen Bomb, leaving a pool of frost magic on the ground which will damage all nearby players. Soul Leech will be cast on a random player, and this spell is really something else. It damages the affected player every second, heals the boss for 75% of the damage dealt, and even damages nearby players until it's dispelled. The only way to get rid of this debuff is to step into the redeemed soil pools. Luckily, just like the previous fight, Koristraza will be placing this HOT periodically for your use. The best way to deal with the Soul Leech ability is to just kite the boss towards the nearest redeemed soil pool at all times. That way the dispel will happen almost instantaneously.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, so be sure to leave your comments in the comment section below if you have any ideas about anything else you might want to see me play. And as always, the comment question still stands. Try and guess the intro and outro songs to my videos. They're always the same, I never change them. Be sure to follow me on Instagram for the latest updates on when I'll be uploading YouTube videos, as well as when I'll be streaming on Twitch and other random gaming related posts. Be sure to check out my partner in crime, Sir John Mac's channel. He posts something every now and then, and it's usually pretty entertaining, whatever it is. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more like it, maybe even subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And that's all the time we've got for today, so until next time, don't die.